amazing performance by Deanne and Kenneth.
I mean, this next act, it needs something really big to follow that one up. Yeah, it's gonna be really hard.
Well, if any act is going to be able to do that, it's going to be Team Viagra Falls. Let's give it up for Team Viagra Falls, guys.
Hello. My name is Danielle, I'm a P3, and tonight I'm going to be giving a presentation entitled New Frontiers, the Future of Pharmacy. This was originally a Viagra Falls production, but my other teammates, I think, got a little worried about getting another professionalism report based on what we did last year. So, Osaka, I see you all right here in the front row. You all know who I am, so you can just direct any professionalism reports directly to me. I'll take it. You guys should see their faces right now. So I'm a P3, like I said, and I was really excited to finally be a P3. Like, everyone talks about how P2 year is like so stressful, so difficult. Your life ends up looking something like this. Thank you, Jasper. But I'm actually not so sure I agree with that. I think that P3 year is actually the most stressful because P3 year is when people start asking you what you're going to do after graduation, and you're expected to have a real answer. So I've been thinking a lot about what I'm going to do after I graduate, and I have a few options. I mean, I've considered residency, I've considered fellowship. In the deepest, darkest moments of despair, I've even considered retail. But honestly, none of these options really spoke to me, so I was getting a little worried, but I think I finally decided what I want to do. I really think it's going to revolutionize the field of pharmacy. You guys want to hear what I'm going to do?
Yes!
I'm going to open my own school of pharmacy.
What?
So we're all students here at UCSF. We all know what an incredible institution this is. I know I've certainly learned a lot here. Paid a lot of money too. That's true. So I was thinking about what I might name my new school. I wanted to be a name that encompasses all the different fields of pharmacy practice, because I think in general the public, for the most part, has no idea what we do outside of Walgreens and CVS. So I think I finally came up with a name. I'm going to call it the School of Health, Industry, and Technology. SHIT. Thinking. I know you're probably laughing because, obviously with the name up there, I didn't even include the word pharmacy. I think that's pretty funny too. But I know what else you're probably thinking, why do we need another pharmacy school in California? There's already so many, and pharmacy school is expensive. We pay a lot of tuition to be here, and on top of that, the job market is already saturated, so once we graduate, we aren't even guaranteed a job to pay off our loans. So I think that SHIT is going to solve this problem, although I gotta say the solution is one of those things where things get way worse before they get better, so just hear me out, guys. So this is what I'm going to do. The first 10 graduating classes are going to have to pay double tuition. It's just how it's got to be. But we're going to convince them that it's worth it by telling them that we're using that money to build state-of-the-art learning facilities for them to use. Realistically, we'll probably just end up starting a bunch of construction projects that we have no intention of ever finishing. By the end of those 10 years, we will have amassed enough of a fortune to buy out all the other pharmacy schools in California. creating what we in the business like to call a conglomerate. So the curriculum is obviously the biggest component of any school, so I've given a lot of thought to what I think the most important things are for my students to learn. And, you know, in the past 3 years, I've heard a lot of patients say, you know, I don't feel like my pharmacist really understands what I'm going through. I don't think my pharmacist really knows what it's like to live with a chronic disease. And I think that's totally valid. I think that empathy is one of the most important things to teach, but also one of the hardest things to teach. So I've been trying to like get creative on how I'm going to teach my students to be more empathetic. And the first thing I've come up with is something I'm going to call campus meal enhancement. And what this means is all the food and beverages on campus are going to be enhanced with excess glucose and sodium so that my students can experience diabetes, as well as edema and chronic heart failure. Next, I'm going to have make sure all the professors. I haven't even said it yet. I'm going to make sure all the professors coordinate their exam times to make sure that students actually end up with multiple midterms on the same day. This has been shown by leading researchers to increase sympathetic activation, leading to hypertension, anxiety, and insomnia. And just to be fair, I think UCSF is already doing something similar in their curriculum. About something, it's actually something we're already using here at UCSF. It's this amazing tool that we have called My Dispense.
Oh yeah!
Oh my god, I'm already loud. Okay. My Dispense is it's this incredibly realistic lifelike pharmacy simulation. Basically, you know, you log on and you're presented with a patient. The patient gives you a prescription. You like answer some of their questions. They give you like snarky remarks sometimes, and you type their prescription on the computer. You pull the bottle, you count the pills, and you dispense it. It's very lifelike. It's almost exactly like an actual retail pharmacy, minus like all those retail pharmacy smells. You guys know what I'm talking about? There's a like fishy metformin smell. There's like that, you guys ever get those patients that come in and they're like, that smell that just emanates from these patients that are like, oh, you know, my dog ate my Vicodin. I get these patients a lot. They're actually my favorite patients though. Clearly I'm their favorite intern too because they come like every week. And I love it because I'm always like, you know, they're like, my dog ate my Vicodin, and I'm like, oh, you know, first empathy, like, I'm so sorry to hear that, I hope you're okay, and then, so how's your dog doing? And they're like, huh? And I'm like, I gotcha. So, I can't speak highly enough of My Dispense. I love My Dispense. I only have one little complaint. It's not that big of a deal, but when My Dispense, like, automatically assigned my login name, it assigned me F. Danielle. Like, well, F you too, My Dispense. So I decided to abbreviate its name too, so now I just call it My D for short. So I just want to spend a few minutes talking about My D because, like I said, this is incredibly important to me. Obviously, My D is going to be the biggest part of the new curriculum. It's going to be huge. It already is. By this point in the year, most of the P3 class has seen My D. Not everyone loves it as much as I do. Actually, most people describe it as long and hard. And you know, being P3s, we like to procrastinate, and so some people actually end up spending all night on it. So I get it, not everyone is a fan, but there are a few students who submitted some really powerful testimonials that I'd like to share with you. So the first testimonial comes from my dear friend, Danielle Fasani. Daniel says, My D is the first. All right, this is what Daniel said. He says, my D is the first thing I look at in the morning and the last thing I see before I sleep. I'm proud to say I've used my D to raise my GPA, and I wouldn't have gotten my prestigious Kaiser Oakland internship without a little help from my D. Thank you, Daniel. Amazing. The next testimonial comes from another dear friend of mine. His name is Amir Ali. And Amir says, my D is much more engaging than any lecture I've ever had. In fact, I usually whip out my D during class hours. It may be distracting to my classmates, but I just keep playing around with my D until if anyone feels so inclined, you may donate to the cause. I really appreciate that. And that's all I have for you guys. Thanks.